Hello students, today we are going to do the Factories Act 1948. Here we will study the provisions related to employment of women and young persons and provisions related to leave with wages. I am Ragini Dikshit, working as Assistant Professor at SOM School of Management, PBD University. The contents of this presentation are definition of child, young person and adolescent, which is prescribed in the Factories Act 1948, provisions related to employment of young persons, provisions regulating employment of women in a factory, and provisions related to leave with wages. Now coming to the definition, a young person means a person who is either a child or an adolescent. Section 2D describes who is young person under the Factories Act. It means a person who is either a child or an adolescent. He can be a child or he can be an adolescent also. But child means a person who has not completed his 15 years of age, and adolescent means a person who has completed his 15 years of age but has not completed his 18 years of age. Means he is more than 15 years of age but below 18 years of age. Now, coming to provisions related to employment of young persons. The following are the provisions of the Factories Act 1948 relating to the employment of young persons. Section 61, 67, prohibition of employment of young children. It describes the provisions related to prohibition of employment of young children. No child who has not completed his 14th year shall be required or allowed to work in a factory, and it is the duty of the employer to ascertain the age of the children whom he allows to work in any factory. He cannot depend on the statement of the applicant. So any child who has not completed 14 years of age, he shall not be allowed to work in a factory, and as well as it is the duty of the employer to ascertain the age of the children. Where a child labourer was found guilty and convicted in contravention of Section 67 of the Factories Act, he shall be liable to minimum penalty as prescribed under Section 14 of the Child Labour Prohibition and Regulation Act 1986. Where a child labourer was found guilty, that he's saying that he is for 15 years of age or he has completed 14 years of age but he has actually not done so, then he can be punished with a minimum penalty as prescribed under Section 14(1) of the Child Labour Prohibition and Regulation Act 1986. Now coming to Section 68, non-adult workers to carry token. A child who has completed his 14 years or an adolescent shall not be required or allowed to work in any factory unless a certificate of fitness granted with reference to him under Section 69 is in his custody of the manager of the factory. Second, such child or adolescent carries while he is at work a token giving a reference to such certificate. Means he has to carry a token with reference to such certificate, and the certificate of that adolescent or child will rest with the manager of the factory. Now coming to Section 69, certificate of fitness. Who grants these certificates and after accomplishing what standards? Now, a certifying surgeon shall, on the application of any young person or his parent or guardian, accompanied by a document signed by the manager of a factory, that such person will be employed therein if certified to be fit for work in a factory, or on the application of the manager of the factory in which any young person wishes to work, examine such person and ascertain his fitness for work in a factory. So if a certifying surgeon receives an application, he certifies that person. Now, the certifying surgeon after examination may grant to such young person in the prescribed form or may renew a certificate of fitness to work in a factory as a child. If he is satisfied that the young person has completed his 14 years, that he has attained the prescribed physical standard and that he is fit for such work. A certificate of fitness of work in a factory as an adult if he is satisfied that the young person has completed his 15th year and is fit for a full day's work in a factory. provided that unless the certifying surgeon has personal knowledge of the place where the young person proposes to work and of the manufacturing process in which he will be employed, he shall not grant or renew a certificate under the subsection until he has examined such place. Means certifying surgeon has to examine such place of working, that is where factory is situated, what manufacturing process is going on in that factory, that certifying managers has to first examine that. A certificate of fitness is granted or renewed to that person as an adult. Now, a certificate of fitness granted or renewed under subsection 2 shall be valid only for a period of 12 months from the date thereof, may be made subject to conditions in regard to the nature of the work in which the young person may be employed, or requiring re-examination of the young person before the expiry of the period of 12 months. Then a certifying surgeon shall revoke any certificate granted or renewed under subsection 2 if in his opinion the holder of it is no longer fit to work in the capacity stated therein in a factory. So this certificate of fitness is valid for 12 months from the date it is issued, as well as a certifying surgeon can revoke any certificate granted or renewed if in his opinion the holder of it is no longer fit to work in the capacity stated therein in a factory. Now, where a certifying surgeon refuses to grant or renew a certificate of the kind requested or revokes a certificate, he shall, if so requested by any person who could have applied for the certificate or the renewal thereof, state his reasons in writing for so doing. If certifying surgeon refuses, then he has to give his statement in writing why he is refusing to give certificate of fitness to that person. Where a certificate under this section with reference to any young person is granted or renewed subject to such conditions as are referred in clause B of the subsection 3, the young person shall not be required or allowed to work in a factory except in accordance with those conditions. If certain conditions are laid down in that certificate, then the person has to work according to those conditions only. Any fee payable for a certificate under this section shall be paid by the occupier and shall not be recoverable from the young person, his parents or guardians. So, this fees for this certificate of fitness will be paid by the occupier of the factory. Now, effect of certificate of fitness granted to adolescent as described in section 17. An adolescent who has been granted a certificate of fitness to work in a factory as an adult under clause B of subsection 2 of section 69, and who while at work in a factory carries a token giving reference to the certificate shall be deemed to be an adult for all the purposes of chapter 6 and chapter 8. Now, no female adolescent or a male adolescent who has not attained the age of 17 years but who has been granted a certificate of fitness to work in a factory as an adult shall be required or allowed to work in any factory except between 6 a.m. and 7 p.m. Now, provided that state government may by notification in the official gazette in respect of any factory or group or class or description of factory, state government may vary the limits laid down in the subsection. So, however, that no such sections shall authorize the employment of any female adolescent between 10 p.m. and 5 p.m. Grant exemption from the provisions of this subsection in case of serious emergency where national interest is involved. An adolescent who has not been granted a certificate of fitness to work in a factory as an adult under the aforesaid clause B shall, notwithstanding his age, be deemed to be a child for all the purposes of this Act. Now, section 71 describes the provisions related to working hours for children. No child shall be employed or permitted to work in any factory for more than 4.5 hours in any day. For the adult worker, it is 9 hours or 8 hours. Now, during the night, he is not allowed to work during the night shift. For the purpose of this subsection, night shall mean a period of at least 12 consecutive hours, which shall include the interval between 10 pm and 6 am. Now, the period of work of all children employed in a factory shall be limited to 2 shifts, which shall not overlap or spread over more than 5 hours each, and each child shall be employed in only one of the relays, which shall not, except with the previous permission in writing of the chief inspector, be changed more frequently than once in a period of 30 days. Now, when relay work is going on, that is work is going on in shift, then a child cannot work in 2 shifts simultaneously. Now, the provisions of section 52 shall apply also to child workers, and no exemption from the provision of that section may be granted in respect of any child. Then, no child shall be required or allowed to work in any factory on any day on which he has already been working in another factory. Means there can be no double employment. That is, our child cannot work in 2 factories on the same day. Now, no female child shall be required or allowed to work in any factory except between 8 am and 7 pm. No female child timing is from 8 am and 7 pm. Except between 8 am and 7 pm. Now, section 72. Notice of periods of work for children. There shall be displayed and correctly maintained in every factory in which children are employed in accordance with the provisions of subsection 2 of section 108, a notice of periods of work for children showing clearly for every day the period during which children may be required or allowed to work. It should be properly displayed in the factory. The period shown in the notice required by subsection 1 shall be fixed beforehand in accordance with the method laid down for adult workers in section 61, and shall be such that children working for those periods would not be working in contravention of any provisions of section 71. The provisions of subsection 8, 9 and 10 of section 61 shall apply also to the notice required by the subsection 1 of this section. So, these notices of periods of work for children should be properly displayed at adequate places in all the factories like that of adult workers. Now, section 73, register of child workers. Like adult workers, child workers registers should also be maintained in every factory. The manager of every factory in which children are employed shall maintain a register of child workers to be available to the inspector at all times during which working hours or when any work is being carried on in a factory, showing what this register of child workers will carry: the name of each child worker in the factory, the nature of his work, the group if any in which he is included, where his group works on shifts, the relay to which he is allotted, and the number of his certificate of fitness granted under section 69 by the certifying surgeon. Now, no child worker shall be required or allowed to work in any factory unless his name and other particulars have been entered in the register of child workers. First, he has to enter his particular in the register of child workers. Then, the state government may prescribe the form of the register of child workers, the manner in which it shall be maintained, and the period for which it shall be preserved. The state government will prescribe the form of the register and the period for which that register has to be preserved by the occupier or manager of the factory. Now, coming to section 74, hours of work to correspond with notice under section 72 and register under section 73. No child shall be employed in any factory otherwise than in accordance with the notice of period of work for children displayed in the factory, and the entries made beforehand against his name in the register of child workers of the factory. So, if the hours of work and the name of the child and the type of work should be given in the register of the factory, and the child will perform for those hours only. Now, section 75, power to require medical examination. Where an inspector is of opinion that any person working in a factory without a certificate of fitness is a young person or that a young person working in a factory with a certificate of fitness is no longer fit to work in the capacity stated therein, he may serve on the manager of the factory a notice requiring that such person or young person, as the case may be, shall be examined by a certifying surgeon, and such person or young person shall not, if the inspector so directs, be employed or permitted to work. So if an inspector is of opinion that any person working in a factory without a certificate of person fitness is a young person, and that a young person working in a factory with a certificate of fitness is no longer fit to work in the capacity, if he is working without the certificate of fitness, or if he has certificate of fitness but he is no longer fit for that work, the inspector may require that such person or young person shall be examined by a certifying surgeon, and such person or young person shall not, if the inspector so directs, be employed or permitted to work. Now, coming to section 76, part 2, make rules. State government may make rules prescribing the forms of certificate of fitness to be granted under section 69, providing for the grant of duplicates in the event of loss of the original certificates, and fixing the fees which may be charged for such certificates and renewals thereof and such duplicates. So government can make rules regarding the form of certificates, the fees which have to pay, then the renewal fees and renewal of such duplicates. Then prescribing the physical standards to be attained by children and adolescents working in factories, regulating the procedure of certifying surgeons under this chapter, specifying other duties which certifying surgeons may be required to perform in connection with the employment of young person in factories, and fixing the fees which may be charged for such duties and the person by whom they shall be payable. Now, section 77, certain other provisions of law not barred. The provision of this chapter shall be in addition to and not in derogation of the provisions of the Employment of Children Act 1938. So, these provisions of this act will accompany or supplement the provisions of the Employment of Child Act 1938. Now, provisions regulating employment of women in a factory. The gender equality allows of women workers to work in a factory with men. Considering this, the central and state government has made additional provisions regulating the employment of women in a factory. Thus, the additional provisions are under different section of Factories Act 1948. The act was drastically amended in 1987, whereby safeguard against use and handling of hazardous substances and procedures for setting up hazardous industries were laid down. Now, first provision is related to safety and health measures for women. Section 22 of the Factories Act 1948 provides that no women shall be allowed to clean, lubricate or adjust any part of a prime mover or of any transmission machinery while the prime mover or transmission machinery is in motion, or to clean, lubricate or adjust any part of any machine if the cleaning, lubrication or adjustment thereof would expose the woman to risk of injury. So, women will not be involved in the cleaning, lubricating or adjusting of any machinery which is in motion or which can cause risk of injury to a woman. Now, section 27 of the Factories Act 1948 prohibits employment of women in any part of a factory for pressing cotton in which a cotton opener is at work. Prohibition of night work. Section 66 of the Factories Act 1948 state that no women shall be required or allowed to work in a factory except between the hours of 6 a.m. and 7 p.m. From 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. only the women worker can work in a factory. Now, various provisions for separate latrines and urinals. Section 19 of the Factories Act 1948 provides for the separate conservancy facilities provided to women workers in Factories Act 1948. The Factories Act 1948 makes it obligatory for every factory to maintain an adequate number of latrines and urinals of the prescribed type separately for men and women workers, and such facilities are to be conveniently situated and accessible to workers at all times while they are in factory. Every latrine is required to be under cover and so partitioned off as to secure privacy and have a proper door and fastening. Sweepers are also employed. Sweepers are required to be employed to keep latrines, urinals and washing places clean. Standard of construction and the scale of the latrine accommodation to be provided for men and women workers are contained in the rules framed by the concerned state government. Now, provisions for separate washing facilities. Section 42 of the Factories Act provides separate facilities. Washing and bathing are provided for women workers under the Factories Act. According to Section 42(1)(b) of the Act, separate and adequately screened washing facilities shall be provided for the use of male and female workers, and such facilities shall be conveniently accessible and shall be kept clean. Now, provisions for creches. Creche is a nursery. What is a creche? Creche is a nursery and it is a place where babies of working mothers are taken care of while the mothers are at work. Section 48 of the Factories Act 1948 provides that in every factory wherein more than 30 women workers are ordinarily employed, there shall be provided and maintained a suitable room for the use of children under the age of 6 years of such women. Such room shall be provided with adequate accommodation and shall be adequately lighted and ventilated. Such rooms shall be maintained in a clean and sanitary condition and shall be under the charge of women trained in the care of children and infants. So in every factory where more than 30 women workers are employed, they have to provide a creche or a nursery for the use of children under the age of 6 years for such women, and these creches will under the charge of women trained in the care of children and infants. Now, this Factories Act also provides for provisions for the maximum permissible load to safeguard women against the dangers arising out of lifting too heavy weight. The Factories Act authorizes the appropriate government to fix the maximum load that may be lifted by women. So, state government may also fix the load which women is allowed to lift. Now, coming to our next provisions related to leave with wages. First, let us learn what do we mean by wage. Generally, the term wage means consideration in money which is paid to the workers for the work performed by them. Workers perform work and in return they will get the money. As we know, in all the factories, wages of laborers are paid on daily basis. So, this practice coincides the possibility that those workers who are on leave may not be allowed to draw their wages for the days of their leave, but the Factories Act 1948 contains certain provisions regarding annual leave with wages so that they can maintain their livelihood even on the days of their leave. And these provisions are described in Chapter 8 of the Factories Act 1948. The provisions for annual leave with wages are provided in this chapter. Section 78 to 84 of the Act deals with annual leave with wages. The provisions which is provided under this chapter shall be availed in such a way that it does not infringe the aligned right of wages of any worker of the factory under any law. But if any law contains a lower rate of annual leave with wages, then provision of this chapter shall prevail. Now, coming to section 79, annual leave with wages. In determination of annual leave with wages is described in the section 79 of this act. If any of the worker working in any factory want to claim the annual leave with wages, the worker must have worked for a period of 240 days or more in a calendar year. It enables him to claim annual wage with leave in the subsequent calendar. He would have worked for a period of 240 days or more in a calendar year. Number of days to be granted as leave. In case of an adult, 1 day for every 20 days of work during the previous calendar year. So, if an adult has worked for 20 days, he will get 1 day leave. In case of a child, 1 day for every 15 days during the previous calendar year. The leave shall be exclusive of all the holidays occurring in between or end of the leave period. If a worker has worked for 2/3 of the total number of days in the balance of the calendar year, if a worker is being dismissed or resigns from the work, or if she or he dies during the service period, the amount shall be paid to the nominee. Now, while calculating the leaves, the fraction of half day or more would be considered as a full day. If any worker has not taken any leave in the previous year calendar, then his previous leave will be added to the current year of leaves calendar. The paid leave shall be granted to the worker who is on sick leave under the section 81. The worker should be allowed to have paid leaves to cover the period of illness. Now, application for leave on ground of illness. Section 79(6) of the Factories Act 1948 also provides for the provision of making application for grant of leave. To get the annual leave with wages, the worker of the factory must have to appeal in writing at least 15 days before he wishes to begin his leave. If any worker who work in public utility service, the said period shall be of 20 days. He has to give information prior 15 days prior before he is going to take leave. Now, section 79 also provides that an application for leave which does not contravene the provision of subsection 6 shall not be refused, and it may not be refused in accordance with the scheme under section 8 and 9. Now, section 79 of the Act provides for leave on medical grounds. Under this section, the worker may be granted leave with wages to cover a period of illness even if application leave is not made within the set period as prescribed in section 79. So, on medical ground, leaves can be granted although the worker has not applied for the leave. Now, scheme of annual leave. Under the provision of section 79(8), the occupier or the manager of the factory, in agreement with the work committee or a similar committee or with the agreement of the representative of the worker, may lodge with the chief inspector a scheme whereby the grant of leave may be regulated. As per the provision of section 79(9), such a scheme shall be displayed at some conspicuous and convenient places in the factory. The validity of the scheme shall be for the period of 12 months, and after that it may be renewed with or without modification for another period of 12 months. So, the occupier or the manager of the factory, in agreement with work committee or a similar committee or with an agreement with the representative of the worker, may lodge with the chief inspector a scheme of leaves, means when the leaves will be granted, and such a scheme shall be displayed at some convenient places in the factory, but this scheme will be valid for the period of 12 months. Now, wages during leave period. Section 80 enumerates the provisions for determination of quantum of wages to be paid during the leave period granted under section 78 or 79 as the case may be. Now, for the leave allowed to him under section 78 or section 79 as the case may be, a worker shall be entitled to wages at a rate equal to the daily average of his total full-time earnings for the day on which he actually worked during the month immediately preceding his leave, exclusive of any overtime and bonus, but inclusive of D&S allowances and the cash equivalent of the advantage accruing through the concessional sale to the worker of food grains and other articles. The state government may remove rules prescribing the manner in which the cash equivalent of the advantage accruing through the concessional sale to a worker of food grains and other articles shall be computed. The registers that shall be maintained in a factory for the purpose of securing compliances with the provisions of this section will be regulated by the state government. Then, the parts of the state government regarding annual leave. Section 83 and 84 of the Factories Act confers certain rights upon the state government to make rules regarding annual leave with wages. Then, state government has the power to make rules in this regard. The state government may direct the managers of the factory to keep registers containing such prescribed particulars, requiring the registers to be made available for examination by the inspector. Powers to exempt factory. When a factory has some leave rules which are not less favorable for the workers than those contained in Chapter 8, the state government may exempt such factories from all or any provisions of this chapter by passing a writing order. So these are the various provisions related to leave with wages. Now, provided that in case of a worker who has not worked on any day during the calendar month immediately preceding his leave, he shall be paid at a rate equal to the daily average of his total full-time earning for the days in which he actually worked during the last calendar month preceding his leave in which he actually worked, exclusive of any overtime and bonus, but inclusive of dearness allowances and the cash equivalent of the advantage accruing through the concessional sale to the workers of food grains and other article. The cash equivalent of the advantage accruing through the concessional sale to the worker of food grains and other articles shall be computed as often as may be prescribed on the basis of the maximum quantity of food grains and other articles admissible to a standard family. Now, the provisions of conclusion, coming to the conclusions, the provision of this chapter, that is chapter 8, are for the benefit of the worker and to protect their interests. It provides the scape for claiming annual leave for the workers, maternity benefit for the female workers, and for availing medical leave. The leave granted under this chapter are leave with wages, which benefit the workers to meet their urgencies without losing their wages. Thank you. This was all about provisions related to employment of women and young persons in the factory under the Factories Act 1948 and provisions related to leave with wages in the Factories Act 1948.